Namaskaram. Welcome everyone in God's own country. Kerala, known for its pristine beauty, has most number of travelers not only from across the country but from across the world. Kerala is known for many firsts in the country. It is the first state which has achieved the highest literacy rate. This is the homeland for Ayurveda. This is the land of Pioli Express PT Usha, and this is also the land where golden treasure is hidden and where Lord Padmanabh Swami resides. This is enchanting Kerala. I am Aisha Khanam in Trivandrum, the capital of Kerala. I bring to you this special edition of Pahla Saal Modi Sarkar. Now before we move ahead, let me show you a glimpse of Kerala. Why is Kerala God's own country? Have a look.
Kerala, God's own country, is wedged between the Western Ghats and the Lakshadweep Sea on the Malabar coast of southwest India. The biodiversity is concentrated and protected by the Western Ghats. The natural flora and fauna mesmerizes. Kerala is an interesting tourist destination with backwaters, beaches, Ayurvedic spas and healing centers, historical and religious places, temples, churches, mosques and other religious centers, and the tropical vegetation among its major attractions. Its cultural biodiversity and unique traditions with over 10,000 festivals makes it one of the most colourful states of India. Onam, celebrated during the harvest season, is the state festival. Purams, a display of elephants accompanied by percussion. Kerala is also home to a number of performing arts including Kathakali, Mohiniyattam and Thulal. Traditional sport of Kerala is the boat race, especially the race of snake boats. Many cash crops like coconut, tea, rubber, coffee, black pepper, cashew, nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon and cloves are cultivated in the state. Rice is the main agriculture product. Kerala is shifting towards home gardening and organic farming. Animal husbandry and fishing is also an important source of employment.
Modi government has completed 1 year and it is a talking point as of today. This government is known for taking new initiatives and many initiatives were groundbreaking. People's participation is very paramount to the success of implementation of these schemes on ground, and many of these schemes and initiatives taken up by the government make it successful as people's participation goes along with the government's success. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Jan Dhan Yojana, Make in India, Digital India, these are the programs, not just programs but brand names and also household names which people remember and has made a tremendous impact among the people in the country. So how far have these programs percolated down south, especially in Kerala, and how has Kerala connected with the government after these schemes were implemented? To discuss all this and trace the achievements of the government in last 1 year, I have with me a distinguished panel, Mr. T.P. Srinivasan, former ambassador to United Nations, Dr. K. Jayaprasad, Associate Professor, International Relations and Political Sciences, University of Kerala. Welcome, sir. Mr. T.G. Mohandas, Political Analyst. Welcome to the show. Dani J. Paul, a Senior Advocate. Welcome to the show, sir. Dr. Babita Justin, Reader in Humanities, IIST. Welcome to the show, ma'am. And Shri Anant Krishnan, a Senior Journalist with the Telegraph. Welcome to the show. What are your views and impressions of the government? To start with Mr. T.P. Srinivasan.
I would say the most impact has been made in foreign affairs more than any other, at least as far as I know. Of course, Kerala has benefited from it. To speak about Kerala's own experience, the crisis in Yemen, the earthquake in Nepal, these are the places where many Keralites were trapped. Because of the very efficient manner in which the government tackled these issues, I must say the people in Kerala are quite satisfied. In the larger context of foreign policy, India has become more visible, more assertive, more well known in the country. Basically and fundamentally, the foreign policy has not changed. it is the strategic autonomy that every government of India has espoused. But the Modi government has a very specific agenda in foreign policy. As I understand it, these are two things. One is the development of India, what the Prime Minister calls First Develop India, FDI, and the second is national security and related defense. So, to secure these, he has been identifying countries. This also takes us to the Make in India program also. So, to seek resources in these two areas, he seems to have identified several countries. So, if you look at his travel itinerary, even though people say he has been traveling too much, it is very clear that he is pursuing an agenda. First, of course, he started with the neighbors. There I must say he had a rebuff, because he did not expect that the neighbors would still play the same tune even after they had come to India for his swearing in. Then he decided and determined to move towards the United States, and that was a great success for him, because the India-US relations, which were in a trough since 2011 or so, he basically revived the relationship. And the visit of Obama to India was very significant. The first US president to come to India, the first US to come to India twice, and the first US president to attend a Republic Day as a chief guest. And not only that, there are two or three very major accomplishments. First, of course, the nuclear liability law, which has been an impediment. It has not been solved, but a way has been found. Secondly, on the Asia Pacific, there is an understanding between India and the United States. And third, the defense cooperation, the co-designing and co-production of defense equipment, which is a very significant move forward. And after that, of course, he went to France, Germany and Canada, also very important from the industrial perspective. And the last visit to China, also very significant, because for the first time we voiced our concerns very firmly and openly to the Chinese, even though the response was not very good. There is really no response to what he said. But on the economic side, we have been able to sign several agreements. About $20 billion worth of projects are coming to India. At least in the India-China context, he has made it a focus, and he has said to the Chinese that unless you change your strategic approach to India, economic cooperation alone will not do. And that message has gone very well, and that has reverberated well in the strategic community.
Yes, Dr. Jai Prakash, as Mr. Srinivasan said, he has positioned India in a very strong position across not just Asia, but across the world. What are your observations?
As far as the parliamentary system of government is concerned, 1 year is not enough to judge a government. But our Prime Minister Narendra Modi he has completed 1 year, and he has made a mark both in domestic politics as well as in international politics. He changed the traditional pattern of India's foreign policy, especially he rejection of Nehruvian idealistic model towards the more concerned with the national interest, and also the dignity, and also he is concerned with the development of the nation and also security and at the border, especially the concern to the border. Major concern at the national politics is development orientation,
right,
and rejection of caste, communal and other type of politics, and he initiated a politics of development during the election
right.
period also.
Yes, Mr. Mohandas, why don't you take on from there? He initiated politics of development, orientation towards development.
I would refrain myself within our country.
Yes.
There was a solemn assurance, some sort of promise made by Narendra Modi before the election, that
right.
was अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं. Now it is 365 days almost. Now we have to test कि अच्छे दिन आ गए कि नहीं आए. This is to be tested. Now we are sitting in Thiruvananthapuram. The main vegetable market is just 2 kilometers from this studio. I would request any one of us after this program can go to the market and interview a lady who is sitting on the footpath. Not go to big shops.
Right.
Don't go to big shops. Go to the footpath where ladies are sitting and they sell vegetables as packets, 5 rupees, 10 rupees or loose. total they will be having hardly 10 kg of vegetables with them. They are the real retailers and poorest of the poor. And you go invariably, I am sure it will be an old lady above the age of 70. She will be sitting in the footpath. Now ask her whether the vegetable prices have come down during the past 6 months. Definitely it has come down. Certain items have not come down, it has stabilized now. Pretend as if
Experts
we are
do
running
believe
the
that
house.
the economy is moving towards from a gloom to
My
a gloom.
basic
So
point is prices have come down
We-
and the items which has not come
we will
down, they
take
are
up that. We
stabilized
will
at
take up
least.
that.
So you are having some Achhe Din. A start of Achhe Din is started feeling.
the Achhe Din is beginning to be seen right now. What are
Beginning
your
to
views?
be
How
felt.
do you
Beginning
to
to
be
be
felt?
felt.
Okay, how do you put it across?
Well, अच्छे दिन तो आ गया है. Good days have already come, and the most significant thing that I find is the Modi administration was very particular to reach the unreached. He was very particular that every household, Indian household, should have a bank account, and that lives and other facilities of those people otherwise who are not secured
Right.
or beyond the, who are outside the bracket, they have to be brought within a sense of security. A scheme of social security has been introduced in India. I think it's for the first time, and the kind of response the schemes get. For example, the Jan Dhan Yojana introduced in a very short span of time, 15 crore people enrolled to that. Bharatiya Janata Party has been trying to mobilize its membership across the country. They tried hard, and what they could bring is they could bring the mark to 11 crore. And here, no such mobilization. Because the people wanted that. That's something that the people wanted, and it has been delivered to the people. The people accepted that. All the matters that has been introduced by the Modi government, it's aiming the poorest of the poor, aiming each and every doorstep, even the smallest hamlet in the country. And that's what I find the beauty of the government for the past 1 year, and a very strong tempo has been created. And we hope that the tempo is maintained for better days, much brighter and better days to come.
Yes, it is just 1 year, Babita. Now, would you take on from there? Better days yet to come. So, what are your observations? What are your views in this 1 year? How do you look at it?
Well, I've been listening to all these people speak, and you can understand from the tempo of this particular audience that people are very hopeful even now. Okay, so he is actually flying on an ordinary person's hopes, and of course, he has fulfilled quite a lot.
Absolutely.
You see, and that's very important, because of course, he'd been like criticized for being a globetrotter. Definitely, as Srinivasan sir said, there were a lot of achievements. Common people are happy with the way this inflation has been scaled down. So see, Achhe Din, that kind of high-strung euphoria is still there, and it's wonderful to hear from one point of view. But there's a lot to be done. As we know that 1 year is too little a time. Right from the beginning, Modi government, especially the persona Modi, had been like the minion of the media.
Absolutely.
He'd been the darling of the media, and of course he'd been bitterly criticized by the same media. Any popularity is good popularity, and he has actually capitalized on that. But then I hope it really doesn't become a one-man show. I hope more people come forward, more ministers, they are definitely participating, but it becomes more visible to people as such.
Okay, let's move on to Anant Krishnan. Anant, how do you look at this? What is the interesting headline that has attracted you in the last 1 year?
Being a journalist, I will always remain skeptic.
Yes.
I'll take on where Jayaprasad sir said that it's just 1 year of the government, and it's too early to make too early to read something into a government which has replaced a system which people believe was not working to their expectations. So we have to begin there. So instead of putting facts and figures, I'd rather take a philosophical look at it. I don't think any other government has been dissected so much in 1 year of government.
Right.
That it basically shows the expectations of people are still as high as what was generated prior to the elections.
Absolutely.
They still have hopes. Now, the one good thing I've noticed about the government, that I'll say about the government, So, even in the Modi administration, as far as I could read and find out, there are different schools of thought even within the government. There are pulls and pressures. There are people who would want India to be as liberal as the US. There is a socialist school of thought which doesn't want India to be that much liberal. It wants India to be a bit more conservative. So, one good thing, as I said, I noted about this government is that this government, I will give marks to it for that, this government has not been a prisoner to any isms.
Right.
The only ism I could find till now has been pragmatism.
That's true.
The government engaged China, but that did not stop them from taking up the cause of Vietnam.
Absolutely.
Even on the economic front, there is one school within the the broader Sangh Parivar, as you call it, which wants privatization to be to go full speed ahead. That's why we come across many criticisms, many commentaries which say, we heard Mr. Arun Shuri criticize the government, saying that the government's economic policy lacks direction.
Right.
So, the criticism is coming from within, but as I said, even the finance ministry, the imprint, though the imprint largely is that of Modi, I find it is a bit of it's going in a mixed direction. It is not extreme to the right or to the left. That I feel is a good thing, and I hope, let's see, in the first year the intentions of the government has been made clear. It is serious.
Yes.
Now let's see how far it will be able to sustain that momentum.
Yes, that's very important, how far this will be suspended and how far this success story will go ahead. That is yet to be seen, and as the expectation rise, we also have a wonderful audience here, I am sure, whose expectations rely on the deliverance from this government. It is the Prime Minister who gave a clarion call from Red Fort for a clean India. Sanitation was the priority, and the Prime Minister gave this call straight from Red Fort, and this made an impact. Today there is an awareness about sanitation, there is awareness about clean India. Even school children are aware of the fact that when they eat a chocolate, they do not throw the wrapper on ground, and they say Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Modi's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So, that is the branding that he has done for sanitation.
I will tell you two incidents. Last Saturday, there were around 200 or 300 doctors in Patna. You see, Patna is not ruled by Narendra Modi's party. Patna is ruled by supposed to be his enemy's party. Around 250 doctors, suo moto, they decide to clean their hospital, and it was a big news in Patna, even in national level also. Now, this is what is practically happening. What is happening in the minds of Indian public? In Maharashtra, I have stayed in Maharashtra, ordinary villages. You go there, they use open air toilets. There is no formal toilet at all. Now, one girl has insisted that there has to be a toilet in my husband's house that must be treated as the dowry which is given to me. So, the change inside the mind, that a toilet is much more important than the gold which we carry on our necks, is a sea change in the minds of the people. So, these two incidents shows the impact of Swachh Bharat, than how much of the budget has been allotted to that, who is the director of that. These are all immaterial. What is the material change on the ground and in the minds of the population, that is much more important. And these two incidents, they are demonstrations of the message, how it has gone. This is the demonstration of that.
Right. How do you look at it, Mr. Danipal?
Well, very evident and clear. Leaders across the country, irrespective of the political lineage, they took the brooms.
Yes.
That was the deliverance and that part. And starting from the leader of opposition of this state down to the smallest kid in the country, in this state, they are aware of this. This is something who will, something like this, who will bell the cat.
Yes.
Somebody was ready to do that, somebody was there to show, to guide and to lead and to take the broom, and the entire nation is behind that now. So, we have a sense of cleanliness to keep our surroundings tidy, and now the state government has also adopted that. They have started to clean the drains, to clean the rivers, to cleanse all the filth from the state.
There is this Naga girl, Temsutula Imsong, who has come down all the way from Nagaland to Banaras, to Varanasi, and she on her own is cleaning the ghats.
Yes.
And she is getting volunteers to do it with her, but yet I do not see, she's been doing an incredible job. I think the Prime Minister referred to her case while he was speaking in Canada.
Yes, absolutely. As Sir said, this is not a new initiative, but the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has instilled a sense of pride in taking up your duty, and
Yes,
cleanliness
but
is,
you know,
is your duty.
But
it's
you
your
know, the local
national
municipality,
priority.
the local authorities still do not seem to be helping her. So, there is a genuine fear that, you know, okay, it is fine, somebody is enlightening us, is guiding us to take up the right path, but then regarding the fund allocation, how technically is this arranged, programmed, how far it will take us, there is a genuine fear whether this will, you know, it might dissipate midway.
That is a perception as we are talking about. Let us move on to another topic. So, how do you look at the initiatives that this government has taken up in terms of skill development programs that the government is talking about? Kerala being the state which has largest human resource as well, and many people from Kerala also migrate to other countries, Gulf countries and Middle East countries. So, how do you see this initiative?
It's an absolute necessity, there is no question about that. But the problem in our system is that we have no dignity of labor. Everyone wants to have a white collar job, an engineer, a doctor or a civil servant. Nobody thinks about the other skills that you need. So, if you merely introduce a couple of courses in skills in a college, it is not going to make a change. The change is needed at the fundamental level. At the age of 16 or 17, children should be encouraged to do things that they are capable of doing instead of pursuing academic degrees. And that stage we have not reached. Here again Mahatma Gandhi showed us the way. He said basic education, let them learn skills, but we have neglected it. And I am glad that this is being revived, but it has to be fundamental. It has to be a change in the pursuit of education in order to have more skillful people, skilled plumbers and skilled welders, etc., etc. But that stage we have not reached.
But yes, in terms of impact on the rural areas is much higher, wherein about rural people are said to get about 14 lakh jobs are likely to be created. So, how do you see that impact in the rural areas across the country?
Skill development certificates are being issued with academic which is equivalent to an academic degree or certificate, and as of what I understand, more than 1 crore people have undergone skill development trainings. And for skill development, a separate ministry has been constituted for the first time in the country, and a minister with independent charges is on charge of the ministry. He is overseeing this. A big ministry is working for this to capitalize on the population of the country. If the youth of the country, if the skills that they have, it can be brushed a bit more, they can be brought out as diamonds. So, that is what the government has been aiming at, and I think skill development, Skill India is looking at, and it is definitely going to create wonders in the rural India.
There is one thing that people of Kerala are known for the hard work, and people their ability to work anywhere, and also the fact that there are a huge number of doctors, nurses, qualified technicians from Kerala who work outside India. And now this government has simplified procedures for more Indians to find employment abroad, the e-migration facility which we are talking about. How do you see this benefiting?
We went all the way to Fiji to tell them that we are behind you when you are in trouble, and that kind of consideration that is given, and also encouraging people to go abroad to get jobs, because India is going to be the youngest country in the world. We are going to have something like 96 million people who will be below the age of 25 in the next 10 years or so. So, we need to skill them definitely, and we need to send them also. So, the immigration policies, without people being cheated as it used to happen in the past, if we can have immigration policies which are liberal, it will certainly benefit everyone, particularly the state of Kerala.
Yes, absolutely. And when we are talking about the simplified procedures, we also would like to shift our focus on Yemen crisis. Right now, the government seemed to have achieved a task, a challenge before it had when it evacuated Indians stuck in the Yemen crisis, and thousands of people were shifted safely back to the country, and Kerala was one of the important focus point wherein the ships anchored at the port of Kochi and people returned to Kerala safely.
Not only in Yemen, first in Syria and also in Iraq, later in Yemen. In all the three nation states, the Indian government played a very good role, especially our foreign minister initiative under the initiative of the foreign minister, and definitely a new hope. And also not only it was benefited by the Indians, many of other neighboring countries as well as even in the European peoples belong to European countries benefited from 43 countries benefited from the Indian initiative. That is a very good job.
But Mr. Srinivasan, I am sure you would agree with this fact that it gives a confidence, a sense of assurance among the people where the government stands by you, the government is there for you when you are in crisis. So, doesn't it bring people closer to the government and helps them more attached to the government policies?
No, I would say it is much more than that. Today, India is being recognized as an effective regional power. That is the most important thing. In fact, yesterday in the US Congress, the Assistant Secretary of State for South Asia said that India has now become capable of dealing any crisis in Asia, which is a rather significant statement. And this did not start now though. It was at the time of in 2004 when we had the tsunami, and then later we had the Somali pirates. These were also dealt with very effectively by us. We did not want any assistance for our tsunami victims, and we managed to do it for Sri Lanka, for Thailand, etc., etc. So, this is very true. Yemen, Nepal also. Yemen and Nepal are two examples where India has really risen to the needs of the world. In fact, the United Nations disaster management did not have to come because India was very effective. So, this is a matter of pride, but it is a tradition now is developing, and I think we are being recognized as a major regional power on account of that.
The another issue of discussion is the policy of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This has brought to limelight the women empowerment. So, how far has that been successful in a state like Kerala with higher ratio, gender ratio in terms of women ratio being more than the men?
In fact, Aisha, Kerala has wonderful indices, but then there are lots of paradoxities in between, which have to be worked into. But then, when you look at the national average, you have the child sex ratio which is much higher than the rest of India. So, graph wise everything looks perfect, but again there are problems. Well, about the national initiative of Beti Bachao, again it's a wonderful, it's a good project that has been taken up by the Modi government. Now, the problem is it should not in fact be consistent on the project level as such. It has to go into the grassroots. It has in fact it has to empower and give security to rural women and ordinary women alike.
Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana is one such initiative. So, how has that been taken up here?
The names are really good, and the initiatives are really good, but it really has to in fact percolate to the masses, and a lot of incentives have to be given to ordinary women. For example, I have read recently that there is a one Mahotsav, when a girl child is born, 5 saplings are planted. So, like that, when somebody discards dowry, there has to be an incentive from those grassroots, from the rural sector onwards. Women have to be, not only women, you have to latch in everybody, men also have to be active participants. They shouldn't be passive kind of receptors of all these kinds of reforms, but everybody has to actively participate. Only then women empowerment will in fact take place at a realistic level. And of course, lots of academics have to be brought in lots of research has to be brought in as well. So everything has to go in tandem.
Right.
So,
So how do you look at this, Mr. Danipal? You are an advocate, and you know women empowerment and women's rights is one issue which the government is focusing on. So how do you see this entire issue?
It's partly educating our minds, changing the mindset, and for that incentives should be given, people should be made to think. And let's say in Delhi, Union Territory, 33% of jobs in the police forces have been reserved for women now.
Right.
Earlier it was a male's bastion. Now 1/3 of it has been reserved for the women in Delhi and Union Territories. So that's a major achievement. That's a very good step. If such a suit can be followed in other regions also, and coupled with Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, and Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana and everything, and the government is ready to put 50% of what you put.
Financial security is important.
Financial security is also there.
Yes.
There is a job security also. Okay, padhao aapka beti ko, educate your daughter, just some basic education. There is a job for you, there is a job waiting for you. So girl child is no more a curse, it's a blessing. So this is the change that this government is trying to bring in, I think, and that's working positively.
Let me bring in the audience here.
I would like to remind a comment from our Indian captain MS Dhoni a couple of years before, after losing a match. What he said was, for the reason for the loss was, either you can play for the gallery or you can play for the team. My team lost because today they played for the gallery, and I believe now Narendra Modi ji is playing for the team, for the country. So it might be something bitter in the beginning, because he has to rectify, he is carrying burden of last 67 years. So we have to take some bitterful medicines in the beginning to cure all these diseases. So might take some time, but the hope is there, the vision is clear. He has a mission and a vision.
मोदी जी का बीता हुआ एक वर्ष बहुत ऐतिहासिक है। जैसे कि एक मिर्चा का पौधा लगाने से 2 महीने में 3 महीने में उसका फल मिलता है, मगर एक नारियल का गाछ लगाने से कम 5-6 साल लगते हैं। इसी तरह उनके जो कारोबारी है अभी जो चल रहा है, वो ऐसे 1 महीना 2 महीने में उसका फल नहीं आएंगे। जो भी किया है उसका भी आ रहा है। जैसे आपका ये हर एक स्कूल में टॉयलेट का, शौचालय का, और है आपका ये जन धन योजना, बहुत बड़ा एक काम हुआ है। उसी तरह अभी देखिए इंश्योरेंस का बारे में, अभी इंश्योरेंस हमने भी किया है। हम एक तो सेंट्रल ये अंडरटेक में काम करके आया वाला आदमी है, हमको पेंशन नहीं है। हम जैसे आदमी के लिए वो बहुत कुछ काम देने वाला है। और उनके ये जो राष्ट्रों के चल के भारत के लिए ये जो जॉब का मेड इन इंडिया में ये फॉरेन एक्सचेंज इंडिया में बहुत अभी आ रहा है। अभी अरुण जेटली ने साहब ने बात किया था कि कितना 56% इंक्रीज हुआ है लास्ट ईयर में, ये 14-15 ईयर में। तो बहुत कुछ कर रहा है, लेकिन आंख बंद करके जो बोलने वाला बोलते हैं वो नहीं है। सच्चाई कहाँ है वो उसको मालूम होना चाहिए। स्वच्छ भारत होगा, एक अच्छा लीडरशिप भारत को मिला है, इसमें हम बहुत तरक्की करने वाला है। आप आने वाला दिन के लिए इंतजार कीजिए।
स्वच्छ भारत के साथ साथ स्वर्ण भारत की ओर भी बढ़ रहा है भारत। Mr. Mohandas, how do you look at this? Do you think there was a need, there was a huge gap which needed to be filled, and this Jan Dhan Yojana has brought in hope? And as senior citizens also say that the financial inclusion and the insurance schemes, the social security schemes linked with this has really given a lot of hope among the citizens and worked for the upliftment of the masses.
Yeah, that is true. It is a well conceived program, Jan Dhan Yojana. Initially people thought that what is so big about opening a bank account?
Yes.
But it is not so. Now the insurance is linked with that, your Aadhaar card is linked with that, tomorrow your subsidies will directly come to your account, and you will have small overdraft facility also to the tune of 2,500 or 5,000 rupees.
Right.
Here we have some hope. The government has created some hope on the people. We have entered into a new political culture, and definitely the coming years will we can see the result only after 2 or 3 or 4 years.
Moving on further to another interesting policy, interesting dream and vision of the Prime Minister is Make in India. I would like to come to you, Mr. Srinivasan. Make in India and international relations, the foreign diplomacy seem to be going hand in hand. The Prime Minister is not only talking to diplomats on bilateral relations, trade, economy, but he is also making a strong pitch for Make in India in the countries like with his recently concluded tour of China and Korea, where we saw huge investments being lined up.
Well, here the main point is from having been an importer of many things, including defense equipment, he wants to be an exporter. This is certainly a good development, and the emphasis is on people coming and manufacturing here, not just for India. As the Reserve Bank Governor said, it should be make for India.
Yes.
But it is beyond that. It is not just making for India, but we are also able to export outside. So this is closely linked to the foreign direct investment. And that, of course, it is only a slogan. How far we will be able to get direct investment is very significant. In fact, interestingly enough, Indian investment abroad is increasing all the time. So we have to bring that back also. The Indians are actually investing abroad because they have the facilities, they have the transparency. So that is where the test is.
But he is making efforts, Dr. Jayaprakash, he is making efforts to assure the people that they can have a free trade with India.
The present Prime Minister visited around 18 countries, I think, and among the 18 countries, our neighbors are 8 or 9 or neighboring countries. All other countries are the super economic powers of the world, and we have basically the government initiated, and there is a policy change, and we cannot say how can we can assure that this is a success or not. That will be decided by future, judged by the future generation. But as far as the India is concerned, this is for the first time. There is a movement to make in India. It is a concern, it is an economic objective of the country. The government declared its policy options. And
it doesn't depend on India, it depends on other countries.
Definitely. But we are welcoming.
We are see India as an opportunity, as a big platform to come forward and invest in India, which they see India as an investment hub.
And these ideas were already discussed with the major powers, economic powers like Germany, Japan, Australia, of course USA, and also the NRI population. I think around 3 crores of NRI people are there in almost in the world, and these are basically the initiatives. And we are discussing in the first anniversary of the government, we are discussing the initiatives of the government, the sincerity of the government, not the result.
Yes.
The intentions behind the Prime Minister, they are very clean. Nobody can question his intentions. He is not corrupt. His team is not corrupt. For the past 1 year, you tell me, was there any sort of serious allegation from any quarters regarding corruption? No. So let us not suspect the intentions. And if you start suspecting motives and intentions, there is no end to that. You can say so many things against me, and I can say counter things. So let us hope for the best. That is what.
Yes, suspecting motives can be, pulling you back one step. Anand Krishnan, what do you have to say about this?
Promise is one thing, delivery is different. That delivery, it depends on so many factors. We have to assure a foreign investor who comes, whether do we have the power, do we have the infrastructure. We have to do a lot of preparations, and I'm glad to see improvements are being made in sectors like capacity addition to power generation. The government it will have to take into account the concerns of all sections and then decide on the land bill. So these constraints will have to be addressed, and only if that confidence of the foreign investor will depend on all these factors also.
Right. Mr. Srinivasan, coming back to you once again on the foreign policy matters. The Prime Minister's successful visits to several nations across the world has focused the attention on India as one of the major players in Asian region as such.
Yes, very much so. He is not thinking in terms of just being a regional power, because you remember what he said about the permanent membership of the Security Council. So far the governments have been saying we are entitled to it, we have the criteria fulfilled, etc. But Mr. Modi's words were we have the right to it. So he is projecting India as having a right as a major civilization, a major country, to play a role in global affairs. There is no question about that. But this has to be supported by economic strength and also defense. Both these have to be strengthened, and that is what he is looking at. He has gone to all these countries. First, of course, the regional countries are different. That is because he wants to show the world that we can deal with our neighbors. But beyond that, what he is seeking is support, because no country is self-sufficient.
Right.
We need resources, we need technology, we need money from others, and that is what he is doing. But what he is promising is, when this all this comes, India will become stronger and India will contribute to peace and security in the world. And that is the promise he is keeping, and that I think is the success, as I started off with, that in foreign policy he has been able to project India more forcefully, more effectively, and as a positive force in the world.
Let me bring in the audience here, the youngsters.
Make in India schemes and smart city schemes like that. We have came across many branded schemes like that, but in the case of in rural places, we don't have schemes like smart villages, smart farming, easy farming and all. So I would like to suggest that the government should concentrate more on smart farming and smart rural.
Okay, moving further, another biggest feather in the cap that Kerala has, its proud record of highest literacy in the country, and it has been a role model as well. And there is an IIT sanction this year by the government of India. How do you see the digital India dream by the Prime Minister moving ahead, taking Kerala as as a partner in this entire scheme?
I want to put it in a different perspective. When you are speaking in the context of how far a state stands to gain from these policies, as a gentleman pointed out, it is also, it also has its roots in how far the state is able to harness that policies. Now, the stress is on cooperative federalism. We have seen some very good, I have seen commentators appreciating those moves, like a major move has been the disbandment of the Niti of the Planning Commission, and bringing into form the Niti Aayog. I read something very interesting in this context. Somebody was writing that in the Planning Commission meets, you had the Prime Minister sitting on a podium and the Chief Ministers in the audience.
Yes.
Now, in the Niti Aayog, we have the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister sitting around a table. It was very symbolic. I like that. If that can bring good results, if the states can also, leaving behind egos, if they can also work in tandem with the center, such measures will be good for the people. But again, it will take time. So we'll have to wait and see.
I just want to disagree with Ananthakrishnan on this. It's not going to take time at all. Digital India will be instantaneous, you take it from me, because generally people have a feeling that Indian public are not tech savvy. What happened when Rajiv Gandhi was there? Sam Pitroda moved this STD booth system. The bureaucracy won't just allow STD booths, because they will say that the villagers don't know how to dial, they will spoil the telephone. Then Sam Pitroda and Rajiv Gandhi said, let them spoil the dial, still you give the STD booth. And what happened, There were crores of booths in India instantaneously, and everybody was happy. So, the digital India is going to catch instant fire, you take it from me. If there are sufficient towers, you give a free Wi-Fi and see how India is progressing towards digital India. I have no apprehensions over that.
So, Mr. Srinivasan, how much do you think is this important? A country has to be digitally linked, the villages, the gram panchayats, so that it can contribute to the overall national growth. Digitization is one such target that the government has kept. So, how do you think, how much this is important for a country to move towards development?
No, it's absolutely important because it's a knowledge economy that we are talking about.
Yes.
But the unfortunate thing that has happened in several states is that we have oriented these towards needs of the developed countries. Many of these technopark and various areas of work, they are all designing things for the West. They can run an airport in New York, but they cannot run a municipality in Kerala, because the orientation is totally towards the needs. These were designed by the Westerners, given to us, and we are just manufacturing it and sending back to them. But when it comes to use it here, it is absolutely in disaster at the moment.
But we see Kerala has implemented these initiatives. There are e-panchayats, the panchayats are linked.
Right, but you heard what happened to the SSLC results.
Monitoring of
the SSLC results could not be completed even today because we can't handle the computers. And Calicut University is delivering degrees for nurses, saying that they have passed MBBS degrees. So, which means they don't know how to handle the computers. This is the problem that I am saying. And the reason for it is that we are not oriented towards our own needs. These are being oriented towards the needs of the West. That is, we do work during the day when they are sleeping, and then we send it to them, etc. And that orientation has to change. If that changes, a true IT revolution is what we need. And I hope this project will in fact encourage that.
I mean, we have women also in the audience. How do you see, how do you look at this?
Like the guests were saying and everybody was saying, all the initiatives, including the Digital India campaign and initiative, would take a long time to bring in results. But it is interesting to see that things are changing on the positive side, towards the positive side. And I also have a feeling that states are also being pressurized to perform, because the government is bringing in a lot of social security schemes and a lot of initiatives. States cannot, stay back without doing them, something for their people. But we have observed that when the Modi government came into power 1 year ago, they said that the first 2 years were for repair and the next 3 years will be for development. I would like to hear something from the Prime Minister or the government on what has happened. A real progress. I hope the government will also talk about that. And we have been talking about a lot about women being empowered, but I think we have not made much progress on women's security issues.
Right.
Modi Sarkar implement ചെയ്യുന്ന ചില കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഈ രാജ്യത്തെ സാധാരണക്കാരന്റെ ഐഡന്റിറ്റി ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, അവന് ഒരു ബാങ്ക് അക്കൗണ്ട് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവന് സബ്സിഡികൾ ബാങ്ക് വഴി കൊടുക്കാൻ തയ്യാറാകുന്നു. അതോടൊപ്പം ഈ ഇൻഷുറൻസ് സംവിധാനത്തിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും കിട്ടുന്നു, അത് ഇതുവരെ ഒരു സർക്കാർ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല.
മോഡി സർക്കാർ കേന്ദ്രത്തിൽ വന്നതിന് ശേഷം പാവപ്പെട്ട ആളുകൾക്ക് നല്ല സഹായങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇനിയും അതുപോലെ നടക്കണമെന്ന് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു.
കേന്ദ്ര സർക്കാർ നല്ല നയങ്ങളാണ് കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നത്. കേന്ദ്ര സർക്കാർ ഇനി ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്, ഇവിടെ കുറെ പാവപ്പെട്ടവരുണ്ട്, കയറിക്കിടക്കാടമില്ലാത്തവർ, അവർക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും അവരുടെ കയറിക്കിടക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയുള്ള എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു പദ്ധതി ആവിഷ്കരിച്ചാൽ വലിയ ഉപകാരം.
Well, there are issues, and now I would like our panelists to conclude, to make their concluding remarks on this 1 year. Mr. Srinivasan.
No, when we make an assessment of the Modi government for 1 year, we must remember that there are 67 years behind it. To say that the 67 years nothing happened in India is an absolute lie, because India has developed, India has become a major power in the world. Mr. Vajpayee himself declared that this is India is shining, etc., etc. So we have to take this as a continuum. It is true that Mr. Modi has many branded projects and he is bringing in new initiatives, and he is bringing a sense of purpose because of his personality, his powerful presentation, all this. And the fact that he is giving a greater focus on these issues and he is pushing it forward, and therefore we need both. We need continuity, we need his enthusiasm and energy, But at the same time, we should not simply say that this 1 year we have accomplished so much as against nothing accomplished for 6
Yes, 1 year is too short a time
Exactly.
to say all these things. Mr.
Right,
Jaipur.
there is a continuity and a change, no doubt, and also there are many initiatives, and he is very sincere, I think, and he has such a track record as a good chief minister and won 3 elections successfully, and there are highly unfriendly media is there, and the politics is also we have a parliamentary system of government, and the parliamentary system of government is called the prime ministerial government, and hence we cannot say his government is it is an one-man show. How can a parliamentary government work without a prime minister?
Yes.
And the constitution itself says the parliamentary system of government is a prime ministerial government. Here we have a prime minister, real prime minister. Formerly the power center, we cannot say there is a 2 power center. For the last 10 years we have 2 power center, one at the prime ministerial office and another at UPA chairperson.
Yes.
Here the entire politics has been changed.
Decisiveness has come in.
There is a leader. We have a
decisiveness.
leader, we have a
Yes.
prime minister.
Yes.
There is a
Mr.
change.
Mohandas.
As I said earlier, I don't suspect the intentions of Modi government, and whatever promises they are making, something they have accomplished, not full. There are shortcomings, corrections need to be made. Definitely they will do. Why will not they do? They will definitely do that. And I don't see any major problem with this government. See, if you want to nitpick some cases, there will be something, but that apart, overall they are doing a good job, and I wish all success to Modi government.
Mr. Danipal.
Being a lawyer, if I don't mention one particular thing, it will be not right from my part. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan that has gone to the statute book also. Even the statute book of the country has been cleansed. 125 laws which are found to be of no significance anymore has been scrapped. 1,234 laws are earmarked for that. So motion has been set, not only in the society, in all walks of life. That's what I see. And about making India, I want to make a comment about that. See, we have a very big diaspora abroad, which in my words I would say A, B, C, D, American born confused desis, who don't have a sense of identity in their own country. They always want to come back to India, invest in India, and what Sri Modi ji did is he just opened the doors,
Right.
and that's why he was attracting such big crowds across the globe.
Yes.
And if we can bring them over here and they can invest, and it will be a very big change, and a very major step has been taken. It's a marathon. Let's run the race.
Yes, Bhavita.
Aisha, personally, if you ask me, I began when Modi government was voted to power with the highest mandate. I had my own apprehensions about communal tensions and definitely security issues, etc. But right now it's really heartening to see one person really doing a lot of energetic work. You know, he's everywhere, he's doing plenty of things, and that's like that was not the image of the former prime minister, or you know, except probably Rajiv Gandhi or someone like that. So very personally, like from a common woman's point of view, I'm euphoric. I'm quite optimistic about this government, and I'm sure he'll deliver all the promises that he had given us.
So do you share Bhavita's euphoria?
Yeah, I would put it like this, you know, there is a thin line between criticism and cynicism.
Exactly.
At the end of 1 year, I would still not be a cynic. I would prefer to be a critic but not a cynic.
Yes.
I just want to add there, you know, when we discussed earlier about, I digress to a different issue about women, when Babita was speaking about the women, the Beti Padhao Beti Bachao,
Right.
you know, it was heartening. It was more of a symbolic gesture that it was launched from Haryana.
Yes.
You know, if you, I don't know if you know that, but in Kerala there was this phenomenon of Haryana marriages. Haryana has a skewed sex ratio, the worst in the country, and many men were coming and marrying marrying from Kerala. So it was, you know, it was symbolically good for Kerala too.
Right.
So then you spoke about challenges. Yes, there are so many, there are bound to be so many challenges, like the world over, the creeping web of terrorism.
Yes.
Moreover, are we willing to change our mindsets?
Yes.
Are we just going to go on making laws and policies and headlines?
Thank you.
Are we also going to change mindsets? Mindset change will be a major challenge. If the government can achieve that, great.
So mindset is a major challenge that the government would face in the coming days, and as the other panelists said, अच्छे दिन आ गए हैं, and many hope here, many of the people among the audience hope that अच्छे दिन will continue, and they also have lot more expectations from the government as such. While there can be criticism, there is no cynicism about the intentions of the government. As the Prime Minister always says, India first. So let's hope India first and Prime Minister's vision of taking India forward with this vision succeeds and people's aspirations and hopes are met in the days to come. I thank all the panelists and the audience here, and thank you so much for watching DD News.